Hi, folks. I'm with my friend Andrew. We're in Taiwan now, at my parents' hometown called Chiayi. And Andrew just arrived a few days ago, so we're going to talk about our observations here. Hey, Andrew, it's good to see you again.
It's great to see you, Winston. It's in your home country of Taiwan.
Yeah. Well, I was born here, but I grew up in California. But my parents retired here, and so that's why I come here a lot, and it's really comfortable, but, one big problem we have is that it's just not as friendly as people on YouTube and on the internet say it is. And by friendly, I mean like, not like that people are not polite. They're very polite, but they're not really open to, making new friends or talking to strangers, and for some reason, people on the internet and on YouTube, they don't like to tell you that. So it's kind of a travesty that they keep that from you. What do you think?
Well, it's really interesting when you told me that Taiwan was a Japanese colony for 50 years. That explained a lot. So I'm sure that the social culture was really shaped by Japanese culture. And I think Japanese value order, so that everything is kind of regimented and strict, and so that may be why the people here kind of seem like they're just kind of just not very expressive or open or openly wild or anything.
Yeah, that's definitely true. I mean, Taiwan wasn't a Japanese colony. It was more like occupied between 1895 and 1945. So Japan ran Taiwan for 50 years, and that's why it's very regimented. And when a country is very regimented, you can't just get wild or express yourself or be vivacious or gregarious or free-spirited. You kind of have to, only socialize within the appropriate circumstances, like at a party or something. And Japan and America is like that too. I mean, in America, you don't get wild. I mean, it's a very serious business culture. And so it's only appropriate if you get wild at maybe a party or maybe a bar or something. But the thing is, America is also very repressed, which is why we don't like it, because it's kind of like, it's all business, not much fun. And the only fun you get in America is watching people have fun in a movie. So to have fun, you have to turn on a good movie and watch people having fun on the screen. You don't get to have fun in real life. And that's something that nobody wants to tell you, because for some reason it's taboo to tell you this. But Taiwan's similar. I mean, people are very repressed, and we went to a Buddhist monastery earlier, and it was very nice. The nuns were very polite, but repressed. I mean, it looks like Andrew said, it's just missing a fun factor, right? It's kind of sterile. Isn't it kind of like Tokyo was?
Tokyo was more energetic. There was just more interesting things to see, but the people are a little bit closed off in Tokyo. But maybe if you know Japanese, they may be a little bit more open to talking to you. But when I landed here in Taipei, I could notice the difference from Vietnam, because people in Vietnam are just so much more cheerful, and you'll see people riding on their motorbikes and laughing and smiling, and you didn't see that a lot here. And but I can definitely notice a huge difference in East Asia and Southeast Asia in terms of the people.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that Andrew has lived in Vietnam for a couple of years. So it's quite different there. It's because Southeast Asia and East Asia are quite different. In Vietnam, people are more lively and friendly and more open, and they make eye contact with you and smile, and they'll chat. They're more likely to chat with a stranger, right? They don't.
Oh yeah.
It's not as isolating. I mean, when you go out, people look in you in the eye, kind of. Just like in China, they do too. They're not afraid to make eye contact. Whereas Japan and Taiwan are more repressed. People are afraid to talk to strangers. And I don't know if it's paranoia like in America, but it could be, because people live in fear, and Taiwanese culture is very fearful. Yeah, and I told you earlier that Christianity is popular in Taiwan because Christianity is about, they're about, feeling guilty and living in fear and stuff. And Taiwanese are like that too. So a lot of Taiwanese do become Christians because their culture and Christianity are similar and related. You'll notice that with expats in Taiwan too. A lot of them are Christians because Christianity and Christian fundamentalists and Taiwanese have a lot of overlap. They like living in fear and shame and guilt and stuff. And and wow, shoot, hi, wow, we just saw two cute girls walking by. Yeah, people can be polite here, okay, but it doesn't go much further than that. You can have a conversation sometimes with a stranger in Taiwan, and most of the time it'll be with an older stranger, but there's no real connection or bond and stuff. What have you noticed when you try to talk to people here?
Oh, it's just surface level politeness, I think if I could speak Mandarin, it'd be better. I mean, what about you when you talk to people in Mandarin here?
Well, I don't think it's a language barrier because, I can speak some Mandarin and Taiwanese, but, there's just a lack of interest. If you're not in their clique, if you're not a colleague or a close family friend, people just don't want to talk to you. They're super cliquish, just like in California where I grew up. It's all cliques. And, but yeah, so it's not a language barrier. I don't know why people think that is. When I first went to Russia, I didn't speak any Russian, but people were very open there, and the girls were very confident and flirtatious and not afraid to talk to a stranger. So it's not a language barrier. Animals get together and they don't have any language, so that language barrier is a myth. It's more like a culture barrier and more like a energetic barrier. Yeah, so what do you think?
Of it? Well,
it's not a language barrier, right? You can sense that they're just different,
Yeah, let's just take. You said that at your home that your neighbors don't even congregate to, or invite it. They don't hang out with each other. They don't, say, hey, we're cooking. Would you like to have some food or something?
Never. Hell no. Yeah, that's the thing that Taiwan has in common with America. The neighbors don't talk to you they do talk to you maybe a little bit and say hi and have a short conversation, but they don't invite you to have tea or lunch or even a coffee or something. Yeah. So it's similar to America in that way. And that some of that's just modern culture. People are just more and more isolated, even with their neighbors. But that's kind of sad because I heard Taiwan was not always that way. And my parents, they have friends here and there and relatives too in Taiwan, but we don't see them very often. Some of my parents' friends, we might meet them just once a year or something. So it's like everyone is just an acquaintance. Even some of my relatives are like that. They're just kind of distant and cold and more like an acquaintance. And you can't have a deep conversation with them. If you do, they'll tune you out. Because most people just don't like talking about deeper stuff. They only want to talk about very superficial stuff, and they'll tune you out. So it's kind of sad. It's like everyone's an acquaintance. And so that creates a lot of loneliness and isolation if you thrive on human connection, that is. But I don't know. It seems like most people don't thrive on human connection nowadays or something. I don't know. It just seems like people are apathetic, like they don't care, like they're maybe they're in a trance or something, or just they've just become very zombified or something, I don't know.
The whole deal with the loneliness problem in America, all those articles you're reading about loneliness, it's been caused. In some ways, people deserve it because people are staying home and they're isolating themselves and they're not being openly social so this loneliness problem may be just something that people are creating for themselves. I wanted to ask about. I wanted to say something about the economy of Taiwan.
Uh-huh. What about it?
Well, I was looking at it. It said the GDP was the majority is based on exports, on semiconductors, electronics.
Oh, yeah,
and,
yeah, yeah.
like Taiwan produces 90% of the global semiconductors of the world.
Yeah. But what's your question about it?
Oh, well, I just wanted to comment on that because I think it's an interesting point that this country itself produces, that much, is the global hub of, the computing.
Oh, yeah, yeah. There's like a big semiconductor industry here, and that might be why America wants to defend Taiwan from China, because it really controls the world's economy, the semiconductor chip. So every electronic gadget you have might have a chip from Taiwan, and so it's a big industry. I mean, Taiwanese are very good at business, just like people in Hong Kong and China are.
I know
that's the thing they're good at. They're really good at business.
Very, very, very smart, very hardworking. Right.
Yeah, they're good. They're smart, hardworking, good in business. They're very good in economics, and like you said, they're good in math. They're naturally good in math. I mean, I've never been good in math, except for basic arithmetic. I was good at that. But yeah, I've always been better at English, philosophy, and history, but not, I've never liked math. So a lot of Asian people like to be, in accounting. They're good at stuff like accounting and economics and stuff, and finance, just like Rock is. He's very good in economics and finance, and, But when it comes to abstract thought or something, or deeper conversations, I mean, people here just aren't into that. And I don't think Asians in general like to talk about abstract thought, like glue topics, GLU, glue topics. GLUE stands for God, life, and the universe. If you want to talk about God, life, universe, the nature of reality and stuff, I mean, Asian people just are never interested in that for some reason. You can't sit around the campfire and talk about philosophical subjects with them. They're only interested in making money and food and stuff. Mm. Have you noticed that? They're just super practical.
Yes, for the most part. But I do know there are a lot of Asian people that enjoy traveling. So, I mean, they do enjoy cultural experience.
Oh, yeah, they like traveling. Sure. Especially Japanese tourists. You'll see them everywhere.
Sure.
And Chinese tourists, too. Yeah, Japanese are actually, they seem more open when they're traveling, right? They seem more talkative.
Well, so I have to ask you, we're talking about East Asia, so why did you say that, I've never been to China, why did you say that Chinese people in China are more real, they're more expressive and more relaxed than they are in Taiwan? Yeah,
I mean, I was in China 2 or 3 times, and I spent maybe almost a year there, and yeah, China it's not as repressed as Taiwan. It's people are more authentic, and the way they walk is totally different. They walk in a straightforward manner, like they're not paranoid of other people. So they're more comfortable in their own skin, more direct and blunt, kind of like people on the East Coast are in America. So I feel more comfortable there because people are just more direct and outspoken and more straightforward and more authentic, and you're not going to see that in a country like Taiwan or Japan, which is more repressed and stuff. So China and Taiwan are very different. I mean, I used to think China was like a bigger version of Taiwan, but it's not. I mean, it's people aren't as shy there. I mean, China still is pretty conservative. Okay, I mean, it's not a wild, free-spirited place, China, of course, but it's not as repressed as Taiwan. It doesn't feel like a monastery. See, Taiwan sort of feels like a monastery. It's very nice and clean and sterile, but just not very fun. It's missing a fun factor. People just don't like to have very much fun here, Maybe within their social cliques, but not compared to like people in Thailand or Cambodia, where people really can get wild. You don't see that here. Mm. Have you noticed that when you go to a place that's too sterile, that there's nothing for your soul to grow or feed off of?
Yeah, it doesn't feel like you're like you can. It feels like you're just, like you can't just be yourself.
Yeah, you can't be yourself or be comfortable in your own skin,
mm-hmm.
Right? Yeah, I mean, some people like countries that are very sterile. I notice women like it too because it's really safe. They can walk around anywhere and without ever getting mugged or raped anything like that. So women tend to value safety a lot because they don't like walking around feeling vulnerable, and I can sort of understand that. But us men, we like countries that provide more fun and connection and more meaningful experiences.
That's a good point
Right.
about women loving safety and empowerment. Those two things.
Yeah, I've noticed that. I mean, women love safety, so they tend to like Taiwan because they say Taiwan's very safe. And that's the most important thing. But I don't think that's the most important thing, because if you're safe and you're not growing and you're bored, and I mean, it doesn't make you feel alive. But when you're obsessed with safety, it just makes you weak. You're just living in fear all the time, and you don't grow. You don't have meaningful experiences if you only care about safety. And America has this problem too. It's paranoid and obsessed with safety, but it's not obsessed with being happy or living or having human connection or something. It's a purely business culture, just like Japan and Taiwan. That's how it is, and we don't like that because we like places that are fun and have energy, and places like Taiwan just lack energy, and most of America lacks energy too and stuff. Don't you see a lot of similarities between Taiwanese culture and American culture?
Well, in what way?
Like they overlap, like it's all business and about clicks and stuff, social clicks and
Yeah, I can see that.
all
I mean,
regimented.
yeah, of course, everyone in America is just in their own bubble, their own circle of people, and they've got a narrow field of view on, and they it's like the other guy said, they filter out people based on, if they want to associate with them or not. And like people in America will talk to you, but as far as like going beyond that, no, the same thing here.
Oh. Yeah, so Taiwanese and American culture overlaps in a lot of ways. So if you come from America to Taiwan, you won't notice a huge difference, I guess, except that people are more like shy and not expressive, here. I mean, they're both business cultures, so they overlap in a lot of ways. They live to work, they have that mentality where they live to work, and they don't live to have fun or anything.
We just had that conversation with that girl working here, and I said to her, is it easy to make friends here in Taiwan? She smiled and said, yes. And then we kept talking to her, and then I said, how can I meet people in Taiwan? And she blanked out. She said, that's a hard question. Remember that?
Yeah. We were talking to this girl earlier that was serving us some tea at a tea stall. And Andrew asked her, if it's easy to make friends in Taiwan. And she said yes, but then when he asked how, she didn't know. She was kind of taken aback and not knowing what to say. So it just shows you that people are kind of programmed, that they're programmed to say that Taiwan is friendly and it's easy to meet people. But when you ask them how come people aren't open to making friends here, they have no idea what to say. I've noticed that with a lot of my Taiwanese cousins too, and acquaintances and relatives. When I ask them this question, they also have no idea what to say too, because they're programmed to say Taiwan is super friendly because everyone says so, and it's rude to go against that. But once you ask them for specifics and say, well, how come nobody wants to if Taiwan's friendly, why does no one want to make friends? Nobody has an answer. It's just like it stops their brain. It's like the programming stops, because when you ask that question, people are not programmed with a response. It's almost like people are NPCs or something, just running a script, and they have no reply to such a simple question. I mean, this just goes to show most people do seem like they're in some type of trance, like they could be running a script or something. I don't know. I mean, it's kind of strange. It's kind of like a dystopia where everyone is under some type of mass hypnosis or mind control, and they just don't even know it.
Well, the thing is, the most verifiable thing we know is that when you go from country to country, you can actually notice a real difference. Because when I'm coming from Vietnam to Taiwan, and the difference is, it's almost tangible
Hmm.
the way that, I mean, you could feel it. So I guess people are programmed from birth by their whatever social culture that they're born into, right?
So Vietnam is fun. I mean, what is it like there?
It's very fun, and it's very relaxed. And like I'll be walking down the road, literally some girls on a motorbike will say hello and smile. I mean, it's that fun. So
Yeah.
and you can make friends easily there. Like we're just talking about that.
They'll have a conversation with you, or
Yes, they will.
will they flirt too? Is it okay to?
Yes.
It doesn't feel taboo to flirt.
Yes, and I think that's because maybe it's it's the thing about Southeast Asia is that part of the world. Philippines, Thailand, Cambodia. These different countries that all kind of are in the same area, but seem to kind of be fun places to live. So
Yeah.
I don't know why. I don't know why the specific reason is that those countries are, have really are kind of just fun places to live. I mean,
Well, Japan didn't control Vietnam, right?
but Vietnam had to deal with the Chinese. They had to deal with the French. They had to deal with the Americans.
Oh yeah. There were a lot of colonists before.
I mean, they've been through a lot in their country.
Yeah, Vietnamese just seem very cheerful, though. Remember yesterday we met a Vietnamese woman walking by the lake, and she was cheerful, and she didn't seem paranoid.
They're interdependent. They've had to work together to, to fight for their country. They still have to work together just to live with each other. They're interdependent. And I remember that girl we met yesterday. I asked her which country does she like more, Vietnam or Taiwan? And she said Vietnam is happier, but Taiwan you can make more money.
Yeah, that's the key difference. When I've talked to Vietnamese in Taiwan, they've said that too, that their country may be happier, but Taiwan is better for making money because the salary in Vietnam is so low or something.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, I guess Asians are very practical. The making money thing is very important to them, more so than having fun or being happy. And that's what I don't get, because I don't agree with that. I think being happy or having fun is more important than how much income you're making. But of course, I'm a spoiled. I grew up as a spoiled child, so I wouldn't know. And that's just what I think. But I guess I mean they have a different view on that.
Yeah. It will be refreshing for me to fly back to Vietnam. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, it helps you to appreciate it more here, right?
Yeah.
When you come here, you appreciate Vietnam more. So that's kind of a blessing in disguise. Like you don't appreciate, the light without experiencing the dark first, or you have to experience the opposite to appreciate something first.
Yeah, I mean everything that you're saying about Taiwan seems to be true. The only place that I saw in Taiwan so far was that Ximending area that was...
Oh, Ximending, yeah.
Ximending. And people were walking around that area, and it seemed like people were kind of happy there to walk around there.
Yeah, they're happy walking around with their friends and stuff, but they're not open to meeting new people or anything like that. So yeah, they're very cliquish and they're friendly within their own circle, kind of like Americans. And there's a lot of good food and shopping here in Taiwan. Yeah.
There was good food in that Ximending area. I had some kind of pancake with egg and chicken. It was really good.
Yeah, Taiwanese are really, really into food, so they make food really good. But yeah, that is one of the high points of Taiwan is good food. It's very safe and it's very efficient, but it lacks the fun factor, the human connection. It's not a romantic culture, and I don't think Taiwanese even care about romance. But I mean, most Asians I know, maybe all Asians I know, don't care about romance. They're a very practical culture, You know, my soul is more like an Italian or a Spaniard or a Mediterranean guy. I care a lot about romance, but other Asians don't care. They're practical.
Do you think that because Japanese were, what's the word? Not colonizing, occupying the country. Do you think that it had an oppressive force on the people here?
Well, yeah, because Japan is kind of an oppressive culture, but the thing is, a lot of that oppression is not due to the government. It's like cultural. So what Americans don't understand is that in Asia, there's not really a dictatorship except maybe in North Korea. Because government doesn't control people in Asia, the culture controls people. So if the culture, like in Taiwan or Japan, is super repressive and strict, that's what controls people. The social culture is what controls people and takes away their freedom. It's not the government. The government doesn't have to control people in Asia because Asians tend to be very conformist and compliant with authority. So the government doesn't need to be controlling like it is in America, where people think that they're individuals. In Asia, people don't see themselves as individual. They see themselves as collective, so they don't need to be controlled like individuals. They follow the social culture. So that's what Americans don't understand. There's no dictatorship in Asia except for North Korea. It's the culture that controls people. That's what's oppressive.
But do you think the reason that Taiwanese are the way they are is because of the Japanese occupying?
Yeah, probably because Japan occupied Taiwan for 50 years, so it has a lot of Japanese traits in the culture. You know, you see Japanese architecture, and people tend to admire their occupiers, just like Americans idolize British culture and see it as high class and refined. You know, that's why American movies make British culture look very classy and refined, when in reality I heard it's not. All my British friends said British culture is not refined at all or classy, but the movies make it look that way. So people tend to idolize their occupiers or colonizers. So Japan idolizes Japan. I mean, Taiwan idolizes Japan, but it does not idolize China. It doesn't like Chinese culture that much. So Taiwan is like a blend of Japanese culture, American culture, and Chinese culture. It's like a hybrid of three, you know. So This is not true Chinese culture, really.
Yes, I could never live here long term. This is so, I mean, it's, I don't want to use the word vapid, but it is just, it almost feels soulless.
Yeah, soulless and soul sucking, right? Like it eventually sucks your soul.
Like it will take, but I could not live here long term.
Yeah, so Taiwan is good for visiting, you know, to try out good food and stuff, and it's good for trying out good food and seeing nice places, but yeah, it is very soulless, and if you're here too long, it feels kind of depressing because it sucks out your soul, like you're not supposed to even have a soul. That's how I would put it. So if you have a really rich soul, I mean, Taiwan is not for you, and probably Japan is not either, and Korea is kind of cold too, right? So, and Singapore probably is too. I think they're all similar.
Korea was one of the most serious places I've been to. They are like
it's more serious than here.
They are like, I couldn't wait to get out of there. I stayed there for probably 10 days. And I was ready to go get on a plane out. There's a feeling there of just, it almost feels like being at a funeral. I don't know why it's.
Oh, like a funeral? So which has a dark, depressing vibe then?
This was in Seoul. But.
Oh, okay. But it was clean and sterile, right? With good food and stuff.
I'm not going to go that far either. I can't say that either.
So it's similar to here then, but more extreme?
No, I would rather be in Taiwan than Korea. Sorry.
Oh, so it's even worse then. Jeez.
Yeah, I have no interest in
Jeez, man, that's scary. I wonder what it would be like if I went to Korea. I mean, I love Korean food, but yeah, I mean, if it has a dark vibe, then
they're having a lot of problems in Korea. I've heard about the birth replacement going on there, that they don't have enough. The government is giving them incentives to have babies, but people are just not doing it. They're saying that the cost of living is high in Korea, and that people are not getting married because there's no incentive or something. Like, then there's also something called a 4B movement among women. It's like an extreme feminist ideology that originated in Korea. So they're having some.
Yeah, I heard Korea has the lowest birth rate in the world, and Taiwan does too, doesn't it?
Yeah. So.
Actually, all three countries, Japan, Korea, and Taiwan, have very low birth rates.
Yeah. So it seems that it just seems that a lot of these.
Like very low, like almost 1.0.
Yeah,
like,
but yeah.
That's a bad sign. If the birth rate is that low, there's something wrong.
And I think I saw something about America birth rate, like white Americans are not having that many babies.
Yeah, that too. So that's a sign that something's wrong, something's unnatural and off. If the birth rate is that low, because a normal country is not supposed to be like that. So yeah, Taiwan is not the paradise that people on YouTube say. Do you have any idea why people on YouTube and on websites say Taiwan is super friendly?
They're just they're lying so they can get views, I guess.
It's just to get hits and stuff? I couldn't do that because if I lied, I would feel guilty and not be able to sleep, so I don't know why people do it, you know.
One thing
I don't,
that...
Or they're just fake people in general.
Are Taiwanese proud of Taiwan? Because I haven't seen one flag waving here.
Yeah, there's some flags downtown by buildings and stuff, but they're not going to carry it around on themselves and wave it.
No.
But yeah, they are very patriotic. That's why they want everyone to say only positive things about Taiwan, and they don't like it when you criticize Taiwan. Local Taiwanese, I mean, they don't like it when you criticize Taiwan, and people on Reddit don't like it either. So they're very sensitive to that, which means they're kind of insecure, because someone that's very secure and confident can take criticism, but people that are insecure don't like criticism, you know.
Sure.
That's a sign of weakness, you know.
Would we get in trouble if we talked about China?
No, there's free speech here. You don't get arrested for free speech in Taiwan, but you do get socially ostracized if you say something that's unpopular. People will just avoid you if they don't like what you say. But it's not like you'll be arrested if you say something that's taboo here.
Sure, but is it true that in China that if the police may investigate you if they think that you're doing something against China or something, like you say something bad about China on the internet, and the police will just investigate you or something?
Maybe I've heard that, but I think it's exaggerated because, as long as you don't make trouble or step on the wrong foot, in China you're okay. I mean, but look, I mean, I've only been in China as a tourist, and as a tourist, you don't get bothered by a dictatorship. You have to live there for a long time to know what it's like to be oppressed under a dictatorship, because a dictator doesn't bother tourists, unless they're causing trouble. So generally, you're okay in China as long as you mind your own business and don't make trouble and just, do the touristy stuff. But you would have to talk to someone that's lived in China for a long time, like Yik or something, to ask him whether China is oppressive or a dictatorship, because, I mean, I had no problems there because the government never bothered me, so I never saw it as a dictatorship, but I don't know, maybe I'm missing something, But I don't think China is as unfree as the media says. They exaggerate everything there,
So, Winston, when are you coming to Vietnam?
Oh, yeah, I hope to come to Vietnam soon, because everyone says it's very nice and friendly and cheerful and has good vibes. So yeah, I hope to be doing that soon after this. But yeah, it is kind of depressing to be in Taiwan after a while. There's just no energy. There's no soul. There's no connection. There's no fun. There's no good vibe for your soul to feed off of, but it's a nice place to in terms of food and safety. And any last thoughts? We've already gone over 30 minutes, so any final thoughts?
I don't. It's an efficient country. It's safe, but it's boring. So I just don't know how anyone could live here without without feeling that they're just missing something out of life, you know?
Yeah, I don't get that. I mean, why would an expat choose to live in Taiwan if they don't have to, if it's sterile and boring and depressing and very repressed? I mean, an expat can choose to live any place they want. Why would they choose here? So if you're an expat in Taiwan or a foreigner living in Taiwan, maybe you can explain in the comments below why you chose Taiwan and what you like about it and how you can tolerate the lack of social connection here and the boredom and the soullessness and the repression. I mean, how can you tolerate that? How can you go day to day feeling that that's normal and good and comfortable? I mean, I don't know. I guess people are different. But it's just nice to hear other perspectives. But I just can't imagine. I mean, if I didn't have family and relatives here, I would not come to Taiwan at all. So, you know, that's the only reason I'm here, because of my parents, you know, and relatives too, which are nice. But if I was a Western expat and I could go to any country, I don't see why I would choose to come here. I guess a lot of people did come here in the past because teaching English used to pay very well in Taiwan, and I don't know if that's the case anymore, but that's just what I heard. So that might be why some foreigners came. But there's not many foreigners here compared to like Thailand or something or Vietnam. You probably saw a lot of foreigners in Vietnam, right?
Oh yeah. Taipei, I mean, but Taiwan is kind of spread out though in terms of the geographic distribution, population.
Yeah, you don't see that many foreigners except in Taipei. You will see a lot of foreign tourists, but yeah, I don't think there's as many expats as there used to be in Taiwan. Maybe because the jobs teaching English have dried up and don't pay as well as they used to because the economy is kind of stagnant. But yeah, if you're an expat or a foreigner in Taiwan, I would love to hear from you in the comments. Maybe you can explain how you can tolerate the repressiveness here and the isolation and the cold people, you know. I don't know. I can't understand how anyone would choose that if there's better options. Even China is more warm and friendly than here, so why? I mean, it doesn't make sense to me. It's mind-boggling. So yeah, if you would like, maybe you can explain it in the comment section. Anyways, yeah, this has gone over 30 minutes, so anything you want to say?
There's not many YouTube videos that are critical of Taiwan, though.
Yeah, I mean, there's not many videos that will say what we've talked about today, so I hope this gets out, but as usual, YouTube might suppress this video because it doesn't like opinions that are taboo and not politically correct. So hopefully this video will reach a fair amount of people, but knowing YouTube censors, it probably won't, but who knows, who knows what's meant to be will be, and I hope to get more people thinking and being more honest about places like Taiwan and not just saying something positive about it because it's politically correct and polite and cool. Because the stuff we're talking about is not cool, it makes us, it has a loser stigma when you talk about this. It's like it's not cool and it makes us look like losers when we talk about social isolation, because nobody likes to talk about that.
But I want to point this out. Loser, there are no losers in life because loser is a word that was invented in America. It's
a shaming technique.
It's to make you think that you're not good enough. Everyone is good enough. There's no such thing as a loser. It's a word that was invented by Americans.
Yeah, Americans like to use that word to degrade people and to shame them, and that's what I don't like about American culture. It's very toxic. But either way, I mean, there's kind of a negative stigma when you talk about social isolation and stuff. I mean, people don't like to. Also, people don't like to criticize other cultures too. They believe. Everyone believes you're only allowed to criticize the government, right, and politicians, but you're not allowed to criticize people or culture.
No one talks about this on news commentary, like Tucker Carlson or any other, or what are the other ones? Lex Friedman, Ben Shapiro,
Yeah, all the top podcasters on YouTube, they only talk about politics, government, or wars, or Donald Trump. They talk about useless stuff that doesn't apply to your everyday life. It's just a distraction or some issue, in Congress or the Senate. It's all useless. It just goes around in circles. But nobody talks about things that matter, like human connection, happiness, fun, romance.
The things that actual people, that's what people really want, and they don't even say anything.
Yeah. So there is an unspoken rule that when you go on YouTube or you're in the media, you only talk about politics, economics, and you're only allowed to criticize the government. You're not allowed to criticize people or culture. That's a taboo. It's an unspoken rule. So this is violating that. So I don't know. Some people might be offended by this, but some people might be woken up too.
They want to keep you under control and focused on work and being good workers, you know.
Yeah, it seems like just an Orwellian dystopia or police state. But the thing is, an Orwellian government is not a police state with soldiers stomping on you. An Orwellian government, I heard, is when you're mind controlled into believing things that are not true. So that's what a true Orwellian mind control is. It's not a police state. It's when everything you believe is false. Everything the public believes is false. That's a true Orwellian state. It's not about martial law or a police state or soldiers telling you what to do. It's a mass hypnosis where everyone believes lies.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's a quote I heard. I don't remember where it was from. It was some famous person or something. You might have heard of it before. Anyways, we'll close it out for now. I think we covered everything. If not, we'll do another podcast, and maybe we'll interview some of my friends and acquaintances around here later, if we can. But yeah, thanks for doing this, Andrew. This should be very groundbreaking.
Yep, it's great to see you again, Winston.
All right, thanks for listening, everyone. Hope it gives you something to think about. Goodbye.